Garo Paylan is this year's recipient of ANCA's Freedom Award. A man driven by higher purpose, honor, strength, courage, compassion, and self-sacrifice, he can only be described as a modern-day hero. This dynamic Armenian member of the Turkish parliament since 2015 is co-founder of the People's Democratic Party in Turkey and represents Armenian, Kurdish, Greek, Jewish, and other minority rights. He fights an epic David versus Goliath battle for democratic values against the increasingly nationalistic Islamist Turkish regime, with the fascist coalition gaining power under President Erdogan, a presidency that shows the hallmarks of a dictatorship after the attempted coup in July 2016, whose aftermath has resulted in an unprecedented crackdown and waves of purges, including 150,000 alleged coup supporters suspended from their public service jobs and over 50,000 imprisoned without due process, including 6,000 members of the People's Democratic Party. Media outlets have been shut down, and Turkey is considered to be the largest jailer of journalists. Most recently, U.S.-Turkish relations have deteriorated, culminating in the U.S. suspension of non-immigrant visas to Turkey over the arrest of a U.S. consulate employee in Turkey for alleged ties to Gülen, and Turkey responding in kind. In 2016, at the 101st anniversary of the Armenian Genocide of 1915, Garo Paylan stood bravely before the Turkish parliament and declared the names of each member of the Armenian intelligentsia and leadership who were arrested and massacred at the outset of the Armenian Genocide in the very heart of the Ottoman Empire, where the initial and premeditated steps of the genocide began. Mr. Paylan believes that this must end where it began, and he has taken that burden upon himself so that it does not pass to the next generation. In his epic parliamentary speech, he condemned the actions by Ottoman Turkey and urged Turkey to come to terms with its past, stating that unpunished crimes repeat themselves. After Garo Paylan's speech before the parliament, he was suspended from the parliament, and the terms Armenian genocide were abolished in the Turkish parliament. Mr. Paylan was suspended from the parliament for using the words. In May of 2016, he was physically assaulted in the Turkish parliament for no other reason other than his Armenian ethnicity. Nevertheless, persisting fearlessly, he has opened an investigation into the murder of iconic Armenian journalist Hrant Dink, who was assassinated in broad daylight in Turkey by complicit state actors 10 years ago, and whose murder has gone unresolved. Mr. Paylan's wish for Armenians is to get rid of their fears and feel strong and powerful again, and he leads by way of powerful example, walking into the eye of the storm in the Turkish parliament. He is a brave activist willing to put his life at stake for what he believes and for those whose rights he protects. Garo Paylan is an intrepid voice for minorities and an international champion for human rights and democracy. He's a soldier for justice, not only to Armenians around the world, but to humanity.